All right. Hello, everyone. I want to introduce you to uh, Doug Spots, and he was in the program, and he did an amazing job. He's lost 12 pounds. He has also, outside of that, just uh, was able to uh, change his mindset and to be able to manage some of the stressors that he was going through at work, especially with COVID. Um, During that the uptick and the entire year. So was able to manage some of those stressors, and um, I'd like to introduce you. And go ahead, Doug. Go ahead and share with us, with everyone, about yourself.
Sure. Well, Doug Spots, I'm a family physician and a physician executive. So I currently serve as Vice President, Chief Health Officer of Meritus Health, which is a health system in Hagerstown, Maryland. And I'm actually recording this tonight from a really beautiful and special place in Washington County in Hagerstown. It's the city park. And you can sort of see the fountain a little bit as the daylight fades here behind me. There's a beautiful art museum here, which is a free art museum. And it's special because we started a family medicine residency that I've been a big part of when I first came to Meritus in 2018. And so after getting through this really stressful period of COVID and managing public and population health, celebrating our graduating intern class this year as we prepare to sort of celebrate our first full 3-year class of residents that graduates next year this time is really, really exciting. So
Yeah,
it was a fitting evening to celebrate. And I still get to precept and teach a bit, and then I manage community health and wellness for the system and the community. And I can tell you a little bit about that in a bit of what I'm doing for the community aspect of it. And then also the clinical quality and safety for the Meritus employed physicians, primary care and specialty care.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great work that you're doing, and it is a
Thank
very
you.
beautiful area there that you're in.
Yeah, yeah. Peaceful.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And um, if you can share just some of the struggles that you had before joining the program.
Sure. Well, you mentioned the 12-pound weight loss, and in earnest, it's probably closer now to 20 because I had started to lose a little bit, Frank, before signing up for the program.
Okay.
And a lot of that was, I can't think of really big like eating problems or anything other than stress from jobs, eating later at night, long hours like many people face. You don't have to be a physician or a professional person to face those struggles. And one of the big charges was, even in the midst of COVID, was to lead the community here on a real launch of trying to lose 1 million community pounds by 2030. We set bold goals just previous to COVID with the arrival of our new chief executive officer around what in healthcare we call the quadruple aim: health, healthcare, joy at work, and financial affordability. It all sounds so easy, except, leading a community to be healthier, because Washington County was the 18th out of 24 most obese counties in Maryland.
Oh, wow.
And Maryland was 36 out of 50 states in terms of being more obese. And of course, with that comes diabetes and all of its complications and pre-diabetes. And so leading that and realizing that to be a leader in that, I needed to also take that initiative to not sort of let that story interfere with me, right? That, oh, I'm just too busy. And everything. I really felt like I needed to do that. Plus the tremendous amount of stress during COVID, which I think we all faced, no matter what our professional or personal roles. So I really first saw this because I was struggling, I think, to keep that balance in my life, which I've generally been pretty good at doing. I can't point to any major factor that was different. We still have a presence up in Central PA and then a presence down here. And so my wife and I split our time back and forth. Our family stayed healthy. Our kids are thriving. There was no major thing other than, I think, just stress upon stress upon stress, and not wanting that story to dominate in the midst of trying to bring a lot of positive out of a really stressful time. I'd say was the biggest challenge I was facing. And I sort of plateaued. I was really just not able, even despite making some healthy choices, exercising. And I was really stuck in my rut of doing the same thing. I love to run, as you know,
Right.
and it was just easy to do that, but not to do a variety of exercises, mindfulness, sort of meditation, and actually also stretching, yoga, some of those kind of things. I was letting that all slide. So I sought the program out because I wanted sort of more than a Noom app or other kinds of apps. I wanted sort of that connection, and we were able to connect and do that virtually at a time that opened up a whole new tool set. And of course, I know you and your family. And so that was an immediate sort of trust for me that I would feel comfortable sort of going into the program.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. We do, have a lot of mutual friends too.
Yes.
Back in PA.
Yep.
So what has changed since, you mentioned some of that, what has changed since, joining the program? Like I said, you have mentioned some of those changes.
Yeah. I always answered more than your one question, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I think just better self-discovery about not letting the narrative of the stress sort of overcome my confidence in leadership and my confidence in goal setting. This was a really disruptive time where sometimes 5, 6, 7 times a day we had to make pivoted decision changes. And as much as you think that we're used to that all the time in medicine, particularly those of us in family medicine, which value those longer term relationships, for me as a leader and in the C-suite, being able to have that agility and that flexibility in a new way was not just something that I think you can learn from a textbook. So the program helped me also become, I think, a more comprehensive thinker about my own health. I think my best example I've shared with you before, but with the group is the book, The Giant Leap. The Big Leap. Yeah, yes. The Big Leap. But for me, it was a giant leap. So in my mind, I say the giant leap, but the big leap, because again, you can go to your zone of sort of competence, right? So I can always be a doctor. I can go back. I can teach. I can be with the residents and precept. I can do a zone of excellence and be an effective leader. But really, to go take that big leap into the next realm, to truly challenge myself. I think the tool set was: don't hold yourself back. Don't use eating as an excuse. Don't stop exercising because, well, I'll just do that a week from now. So that probably the biggest thing I learned was how to be much more comprehensive in my thinking to health and wellness. And I needed that because I'm helping to lead that for the community.
Sure. Absolutely. You want to be an example, of course, for that. So moving forward, how do you feel? You said you have the tools, you have the knowledge going forward.
I feel great. So I feel much more balanced in my approach to still getting sort of the running, walking, bicycling, aerobic activity, sometimes swimming, rather than just sort of doing the same thing every day. Definitely improved in what I used to think was boring were some of the strength workouts, but I really liked the variety and things I've learned in the program I will continue to do. Okay, and they've been really easy, and they particularly were meaningful to me during COVID when I couldn't get into the Y or have access. I didn't have to go out and invest in a huge home gym. So resistance bands and body weight workouts and stretching and yoga, as I age, just those are things that are much more important. So that was really good. And I particularly delved much more into the mindfulness, which I think, especially in healthcare, for anybody who works in healthcare, the self-care and overcoming sort of the mental stress of COVID, whether you're frontline or you're helping to take care of the people on frontline during this really, really disruptive time. I don't know how I would have gotten through that alone without some of the tools in the program. So
sure, and talking about the mindfulness and that part of it is really the big part of it. It's not so much the weight loss, because that's kind of a surface level issue. And it's, you're going to be stuck there if you don't take care of some of those other things like the stress and the eating, like you said, eating at night, or just eating when you're stressed.
Yeah. And as I shared with you before, so my wife has a nutrition background, so I don't think we were eating in an unhealthy way. I'm moving to be a little bit closer to the light.
Yeah.
I don't think we ate at all in an unhealthy way. I've always loved sort of everything. It's not like I wasn't wanting to have fruits and vegetables. I loved the balance with the program because I didn't feel like I was dieting. I didn't feel like I was fad dieting. I wasn't doing, sort of one extreme to the other, which a lot of plans are. I wasn't using supplements. I wasn't doing anything. I've just continued to steadily, go down most of the time by like 1 to 2 pounds. And I continue on that journey. I feel like I'm well on my way. And, I want to get somewhere in that 170 to 175 range. So that's about another 10 or so pounds to go. And then I want to maintain it. And I know that will get me to a healthy BMI. It's not the only marker of health and wellness, but COVID, diabetes, pre-diabetes, any of those kinds of conditions that can run in all of our families. If I'm not living that example, how can I set that example for the patients in the clinic, as well as the population health aspect of the 150,000 residents of this county that I'm helping to lose. So even during COVID, we thought, hey, it would be great when we launched the public campaign to lose about 5,000 pounds. Yeah. Coming out of COVID, we passed 10,500 this week.
Oh, that's great.
And so our goal next year is to be 25,000 plus. Wow. And at the end of the day, that's the rallying cry, but it's really about a lot of things I feel passionate about as a leader in medicine, like really having health care for all, health equity, some of the things that were exposed during COVID, that this has really become a rallying cry down here in this community. And I think we're getting interviewed by other communities that want to do it, which is really exciting work. It's sort of as my boss says, population health in action, not just in theory. So
right, yeah, that's great. That's
it had to start with me. It had to start with me. So
right. Yeah, that's impressive. That's wonderful. So yes, thank you. And what would you say to someone who's on the fence about joining my program?
Join. It was a great and worthwhile investment. And I know that although at this time I've completed the program, I know that I have the option to extend if I want to, or to reach back out if I feel like, I'm having that backside. But I really feel like the pace, the rhythm of this ingrains this in a way that it isn't just like, okay, this is something I'm trying for 6 weeks. That's much more sustainable. So if you're on the fence at all, go for it. It's a great investment, and I'm excited to speak anytime to support what you're doing, because I think we all have different struggles. It doesn't matter what we're encountering, and we all have those barriers to overcome in ourselves and to help us as we lead others to overcome them. And it's just a healthier, more comprehensive and holistic way when you sort of start with yourself before that journey with others. So
right, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And because it's starting with yourself is so important, because you need to feel that love and care for yourself, so that you can then give to others and be able to be there. So thank you, Doug. I really appreciate you being here and sharing for everyone what the program and what you've accomplished, and how you felt about the program. So I do appreciate that. Again, thank you, and we'll chat again.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that mountain bike ride in Colorado.
Yes, definitely. Yes, when you get out here, and we will do that.
All right. That sounds great.